While we're talking about the way this country isn't, however, we really have to go back and follow this Jamal Khashoggi case, which is just getting uglier and uglier. The Turks are saying that 15 Saudis, he's a Washington Post columnist. He lived in Virginia. He was possibly lured to Turkey. He said he wanted to get divorce papers. He went to Turkey and went into the Saudi consulate there and vanished. He has vanished without a trace. The Turks say he has been assassinated, cut to pieces, and thrown out. This is bad. This is bad stuff. What is wonderful, however, what is the good part of this, if I can say that, is that we Americans are united right and left in calling for action on this and not letting this pass. You cannot let a Washington Post columnist be killed by our putative allies. They're supposed to be our allies, the Saudis. They're supposed to be reforming. Here is both Chuck Schumer and Lindsey Graham talking about it.
Well, it's despicable, and the whole world is watching. The Crown Prince is portraying himself as a reformer who's trying to improve and open up Saudi society. Reformers don't kill their political opponents.
I've never been more disturbed than I am right now. If this did in fact happen, if this man was murdered in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, that would cross every line of normality in the international community. If it did happen, they would be hell to pay. If they're this brazen, it shows contempt. Contempt for everything that we stand for, contempt for the relationship. And I don't want to prejudge, but if it goes down the road that I'm worried about it going down, contempt will be met with contempt.
And don't forget, I mean, this is very complicated because the Saudis are supposed to be our pals, and Jared Kushner has been, cozying up to them, hoping they'll help with peace in the Middle East. But this is also happening with Putin and the Russians. They reached out, this guy, Nikolai Glushkov, this was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. God love them for doing it. He was one of these Russian oligarchs who raped the Soviet Union after it collapsed and escaped, and then fell out of favor with Putin, and he was on trial, and the trial was going to embarrass Vladimir Putin by showing parts of Putin's history they didn't like, and he was found strangled to death with his dog's leash. And Putin says, "Oh well, it was a homosexual killing." Putin always blames the gays, always blames the Jews. I mean, this is his big trick that he uses. This is the third one of these emigre Russians to be murdered obviously by Putin, it seems to me, in England. We cannot let this stuff go on. We have to call it out, and do not listen to the people hammering Trump about this. Maggie Haberman, the Clinton hack who's over at the New York Times, she tweeted out that somebody shouted at Trump, what wasn't this Khashoggi journalist killed because you said that journalists are the enemy of the people? No. And they're saying, oh, he's going to sweep this under the rug. No, he's not. I mean, this cannot stand. This cannot stand. And it is good to see Americans uniting over this. It is good to see Schumer joining with Lindsey Graham, because clearly the left has forgotten what America is about in America. But let's not forget what they are about in the rest of the world. So it is good. Hey, some of this stuff is causing Democrats to wake up, because there are only two parties, Republicans and Democrats, and one of them has lost the plot of the country. One of them has forgotten what this country is about. And that is why I really, have come to support Trump, why so many never Trumpers have come around. He is defending the country as it stands. He is not always a person I like, but he is always a person so far who has stood up for constitutional governance. Brandon Straka,